As a neurodivergent woman who was gaslit out of my experience, astrology really helped me to reclaim my self-concept. I'm Day. Welcome back to my channel, Divergent Witch, where we talk about spirituality, neuroscience, and how to unravel the lies within our minds so that we can reclaim our self-concept. So I was raised within a narcissistic family unit, and the CPTSD around targeting me because of my pattern recognition eventually impacted every area of my life. We talk about this being the somatization of unprocessed, unexpressed emotions, and this happens a lot within neurodivergent women who are traumatized, who are raised within narcissistic family units and often become the scapegoat. You become the scapegoat when you notice a pattern, when you notice that dad doesn't treat mom right and you make those comments. Well, then it becomes your spoiled brat who doesn't have any concept about what people really should be doing or getting from another. Now we can get into all of the different ways this can mess you up for life, but those will be for some other videos here. What I'm talking about now is astrology, because people seem to be really confused about astrology and kind of roll their eyes when I start bringing up the fact that I use astrology with my work with the subconscious mind. Now, in order to really understand why astrology can help us so much, let's talk about what it actually is, not like your horoscope sun sign, because the sun sign is really only talking about your ego. And in a world that is completely obsessed with ego, that makes sense, doesn't it? That's all we talk about. And even now that we're starting to talk about our sun, moon, and rising, these are different parts of ourselves, but it still does not encompass the entire picture. And that is why the map of our astrology chart can be the key to our self-concept. This also can help us understand why we are so sensitive to the current energies of what's going on around us, even, by the year or the month, or even to the day sometimes. So that is why I use astrology as well as tarot in my work of understanding the subconscious mind. We can also use techniques from hypnotherapy and EMDR and somatics. And combining all of these things is where I have found the most healing. So my astrology chart was often used against me. It was used as a weapon. When I was a child, my mom had my astrology chart read and then used what information she got from somebody who was very limited to basically create her entire concept of me and continually drive that forward, even when it was harming me. But it helped her validate her narrative that kept her in the narcissistic abuse and also perpetuated it upon me. This is also why in doing astrology readings, I don't feel comfortable doing the birth chart of a child unless I am able to see the birth chart of the parent as well. Because oftentimes parents will go and try to figure out their child, and you sit there and it's an entire meeting on who this other person is who's not even in the room. And if an astrologer had seen my mother's chart when she was giving her my chart, the story would have been very different, because if you look at my chart and you look at my mother's chart, you can see right there how the controlling dynamic, being so stubborn about what she thought was best for me actually ended up being the greatest pain and my greatest wound. But an astrologer didn't see that. They wanted to tell the client what the client wanted to hear rather than doing their due diligence and providing a service that would have helped these people. So that's why I think that it's great to get our astrology charts read by people and understand this, but what we receive from someone will only be as good as what their shadow is not hiding from them. So a doctor, a world-renowned astrologer, psychologist, if that person has not done shadow work, they are not a safe place for anyone. Which brings me to my other point, that astrology can be our greatest tool to shadow work, because there are points in our chart that teach us about ourselves, about the lessons we are here to learn, that help us unravel these fragmented parts of ourselves that have been shoved away in the shadow and created this knot of fear that we dare not go near. But when we can look these parts of ourselves directly in the eyes, they no longer have power over us. And the only way that our shadow affects our lives and sabotages us is when we give it power. The shadow never goes away or disappears, but it becomes an integrated part of ourselves. And the archetypes within the astrological wheel help us understand our internal evolution as a soul. So that is why I utilize these tools in my work with the subconscious. And then when you really get into it, astrology also correlates with all of the cards within the tarot as well. And Carl Jung said that the tarot was an invaluable tool for the subconscious mind, and that until we make the unconscious conscious, it will direct our lives, and we will call it fate. So there are amazing ways that we can use affirmations, that we can journal, that we can do different kinds of shadow work. But if we do not allow ourselves to utilize all of the tools for this work, who are we really helping? If we have astrology and tarot at our disposal to help us understand ourselves, to help us understand our lives and situations, and we are not using them, and then we are blinded by the games of the shadow, how far can we really go? So that is why I'm using all of the tools at my disposal, because things like astrology and tarot were tools of the ancient practices of the divine feminine that helped us become more sovereign in ourselves, in our bodies, in our souls, in our minds, to help us reclaim our self-concept, understand why we're going through what we're going through in each stage of our lives, and to bring that to the next step of the journey. So this is why I use these things. Maybe that helped you gain some clarity on why I believe that these are really great tools for us. I will make some more tailored videos for each of these topics, and let me know in the comments below what you're really interested in learning about in the connection between all of this stuff. If you'd like a personal reading, you can go to embodiedsoulstudio.com/readings, or the description box, the link in my bio, one of those. And comment, like, subscribe. Thanks so much. I'll see you in the next one.